Hello, as always, it's great to see you here again. I've been pretty busy getting out there under the stars these last couple of weeks and really enjoying the different view of the night sky. Now, we often ask ourselves, what is there to shoot during this season when the Milky Way galactic core isn't visible in the night sky? Well, I'm glad you asked, because there's a lot of great stuff up there. And in this particular video, I'd like to show you what I can see here in Australia at this time of year. Now, in my last video, I discussed my Orion project, and I really did enjoy putting those images together. I mean, let's face it, everybody loves Orion. Well, here in the southern part of the world, we're actually in love with another awesome constellation, the Southern Cross, or Crux. Now, I'm really fortunate here where I live, as it never actually sets below the horizon. So I can shoot it all year if I want to. So anyway, a couple of nights ago, I decided to go on an adventure under the stars and focus on this beautiful region of the night sky. I had been keen to get out a few nights earlier, but the weather wasn't any good, and now I had to contend with about a 50% moonlight. But never fear, I made my way out to a favourite spot not too far from home. It was a still and quite warm night, probably a bit too warm for my liking, as I was wanting to use some long exposure shots on the tracker. I set up just on the side of the road with an amazing view of the surrounding countryside. Once again, I was using my hydrogen alpha modified camera to shoot the images for this night. There's quite a bit of red and pink nebula in this particular region of the sky, and I was keen to capture it. As is my usual procedure, I started with polar aligning the tracker using the awesome iPolar camera and software built into my SkyGuider Pro. It's very quick and accurate, and I had it set up in no time at all. It's funny, you know, but I quite often get sidetracked by looking up at the stars when I'm out. Yeah, I know, that's why I'm out there. But it really is so peaceful out there all alone at night. The image taking is great, but I think the overall experience is what really makes it so special. Anyway, I knew I'd have to change my settings a little bit because of the bright moonlight, so I settled on f4 aperture for the sky shots, shutter speed of 120 seconds and ISO 640. The other thing I was really keen to do was get out the 50mm lens again to shoot. I have to say that if there's any chance of using these longer focal length lenses, I'll take it with both hands. So because the Southern Cross is close to the ground at this time of year, I knew I'd be able to line it up with whatever foregrounds I wanted to incorporate at 50mm. But the main reason I love the 50mm lens is what it does to the sky background. It's like I can draw that sky full of stars in really close and still feel like it's a classic nightscape image. Now, we've come to confession time. Bear with me. Every time I start using these longer focal length lenses, and especially attached to the tracker using the modified camera, everyone seems to expect me to go the whole hog and get into deep space photography. Telescopes, auto-guiding, cooled astro cameras, computer capturing, deep sky, stacker, pics in sight, the list goes on. I need to set the record straight. I love the stars. I love looking through telescopes. I really enjoy those deep space images that take hours upon hours of integration time to produce. But my first love is a simple landscape under the stars at night. That's what motivates me the most. And I guess you could say it's my first love, and I really don't want to leave it. So I'm quite content out there under the stars with my portable little star tracker and my nifty 50 lens. As long as I can fit some feature of the foreground landscape into the shot, I'm a happy chappy. Anyway, now back to my adventure. I knew there were a couple of interesting foreground objects just inside the paddock next to where I was parked, so I was keen to check them out. First things first, I set the tracker and camera in motion. My intention was to shoot 20 frames, and mainly because of the heat, I also decided to shoot some dark frames by putting the lens cap back over the lens for about 10 further exposure at the same settings. So as the camera was shooting, I made my way across to a nearby windmill. Even though there was hardly any wind, it was still turning gently in the breeze. I just love windmills, and I'm blessed where I live as there seems to be heaps of them all around the place. Now, yes, this would line up perfectly with the Southern Cross behind. There wasn't a whole lot else around the windmill except maybe a fence and a broken old water trough. I'd already decided that the moonlight would be all the lighting I'd need for these foregrounds tonight. Now, quite often, as you know, I'd incorporate light painting on these foregrounds, but I guess I wanted to keep it pretty simple tonight. That's actually something that changes when using the tracker. Mostly it takes a lot more time to shoot the background sky, so the foreground can be a little bit of an afterthought. I like to spend a lot of time lighting foregrounds, but it wouldn't have been so effective on this occasion because of the moonlight. So I was quite happy to proceed. Just behind the windmill, there was a large concrete water tank. It's nothing special by itself, but I liked the look of its dim silhouette in front of the stars behind. You know, sometimes our subjects can be quite plain and common, but it doesn't matter as long as they work for the scene. So I was on a roll. My next composition was going to be a tree I'd spotted earlier. At first I dismissed it because I was looking at it from the wrong angle, but as I approached it from the other way, I immediately knew it could well be another awesome shot. Okay, so as I made my way back to the car and the camera shooting away in the dark, I had my final plans in place. I was going to use the tracked star images and blend each of these three foregrounds into that to make some beautiful photographs. Now, in my last video, I mentioned that I usually take my sky shots on the tracker away from the foreground subjects so that I can have a clean, uncluttered workspace. Now, that makes the blending process so much easier. Some people I know are purists and they think that's cheating, but I don't. I'm still shooting at the same location with the same sky. You know, as far as I'm concerned, it's the same original scene. How I manage to capture that scene, well, that's the question we all have to ask ourselves. Now, I've had many people asking me about how I process my tracked and blended nightscape images, especially after last week's video featuring Orion. Originally, I had thought to perhaps include that in this video, but it really needs a whole video to go through all of those steps. So I'll see if I can put something together for you really soon. I have been using some different techniques, probably because of the nature of the images. Lots of hydrogen alpha nebulas, etc., things like that. They need a fair bit of teasing out. So I'm constantly trying new things. Anyway, we'll leave that for another day. So for this video, I'd like to leave you with the images I captured out there the other night. I'm quite happy with them and I hope you enjoy them as well. Thanks so much for watching again. It really does blow me away reading through the comments on my videos. I appreciate every single one of you. If you'd like to subscribe to this channel, I'd be delighted. And even a thumbs up makes me happy. I'm easily pleased, aren't I? So, until I see you again, you keep safe and bye for now.